right, welcome my heavy metal friends. How are you today? This is the week of Thanksgiving. So hopefully all you guys have a great Thanksgiving this Thursday. Eat all the turkey you want. No, just eat up, have fun. 3 football games that day. Relax, enjoy. Black Friday, for all you men, I feel for you. If you're one of those men that the wives wake you up in the morning to do these Black Fridays, I feel for you. Just make sure you play some deal or something to rock your head out if you got to do a Black Friday. Now, I'm doing my show on Tuesday. I have decided to make some changes. What the changes are is I'm going to be doing the live shows now on Tuesdays and Friday instead of Wednesday, because Tuesday gave me 2 extra days to Friday to make sure I have a good topic, get some stuff ready and all that. So today, guys, we're going to talk about the spirit of the 80s with one of the best bands that anybody could think of is RATT from the 80s. When you think of the 80s, there's certain bands you think of, right? Motley Crue, you think of Metallica, you think of RATT. Now, RATT is a very, very interesting band. It's a very interesting topic because, we got some people in. We got Danny Stanton from South Carolina. He's a hell of a music lover. He's a hell of a comic book lover. He's great. RATT established 1976. Oh, yeah. San Diego, Mickey RATT, going to L.A. RATT was one of the original Sunset Strip along with Motley Crue and stuff. But what's interesting is we all love RATT, right? We all love RATT. I got my hooks onto RATT, of course, in '84 when I heard, like everybody else, one of the first songs you ever heard is Round and Round. And then you learn that they had this EP, which the EP is one of the best EPs ever out there. I'm serious about that. And the EP has 6 songs, 1 remake, Walking the Dog, You Think You're Tough, Tell the World. Here, let's look at the EP for a second. Let's look at the EP. Because everybody thinks of 84, when, RATT debut album, and technically Out of the Cellar is a full album debut, but technically they debut with an album in 1983. It's a demo type of kind of a album, but it's 22 minutes. It has 6 songs. The biggest song is You Think You're Tough, Walking the Dog. Aerosmith did that back in 1973. I mean, it's a great, almost like a punk mixed with, the early days of hard rock, hair metal, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you got great songs like Sweet Cheetah, You Think You're Tough, You Got It, You're in Trouble, Tell the World, and Back for More is actually on Out of the Cellar. So that song, Back for More, on Out of the Cellar, that actually had its own video, came from the EP. So if I don't think you could buy the EP right now. It's out of production. I mean, I'm sure you're trying to find it used. You can find it on regular YouTube. But I know Stephen Pearcy is working on getting the EP back, to get it reproduce, whatever, get it out there. I don't know if they're going to remix it or not. I don't think the EP needs to be remixed. I think the EP is good as it is. So technically, they came out in 1983. And what's so special about RATT, for myself, everybody knows the story. My very first concert ever, I'm talking about arena level concert ever in my life, was RATT dancing on the cover with Poison opening up for them. That was my first concert ever, right? And I'm going to tell you something, when Dancing on the Cover came out, it was still during the time, all you guys are my age and up, we don't have to say our age in there. We don't have to say our age. But a lot of us with our age would tell you, even when Dancing Undercover came out, metal wasn't fully commercialized to the masses where everybody was on board, right? You were still hearing that word. Oh, it's a metalhead. And when you were called a metalhead back in the 80s, they meant, oh, there's a poor asshole. There's a bum. So the word heavy metal was used as like your garbage. So when Dancing on the Cover came out, it was still, it hasn't broken over through yet. It wasn't more to like 87, 88 when all the fans of New Kids on the Block, they're all embarrassed that they like New Kids on the Block and they try to be cool. So like, oh man, no, we love this kind of music. Oh, Metallica, yeah, we love Metallica. And that's when all the New Kids on the Block fans all jumped ship, But before that, they're calling you names, they're calling you whatever. We had to listen to our music on Headbangers Ball at midnight for 2 hours, because music wasn't really in rotation yet. So, going to RATT Dancing on the Cover, it was huge because you felt like you're tough. You're like, I'm not just going to any concert. I'm going to RATT. RATT was considered sleazy rock, which for all of us, sleazy rock, bring it on, baby. Bring it on. So bring it on. So, and when you go into your first concert, when you're only, I was only like 12, 13 years old, walking in Fresno, California, Selden Arena, walking around this a big arena, and Poison came on. I thought Poison blew me away because, technically Poison was the first band I ever saw on a stage, and I didn't know what to expect from a headliner. And then RATT came on. I mean, it was just like, wow, explosion, just fireworks. A 6-pack of beer coming from this guy to Bobby Blotzer and all that. It was the good times. It was the good times, and all that. But what's interesting about the 80s and RATT, maybe you guys know this or not, what's weird is RATT, for whatever reason, albums didn't sell as well as Out of the Cellar. It's the most strangest thing I could understand. Here, let me show you guys what I'm talking about. Let me show you the album sales of RATT. And it kind of blows me away. All right, so the first album, the EP is technically the first album, but Out of the Cellar came out of the chute in 84 that sold over 3 million copies. Now, these sales were counted when they actually counted albums. Now, it with streaming and all that, these numbers could be different, but we're going to base on these numbers. So when you look at Out of the Cellar, 3 million copies, right? So, when you have such a huge album, usually your second one, even if it's better or not, usually should outsell your first album. But Invasion of Privacy only sold 2 million. I mean, you have You're in Love, Lay It Down, You Should Know By Now, What You See is What You Get. What you get is what you see. They have that. I love Invasion of Your Privacy. To me, Invasion of Your Privacy is like my favorite RATT album, and it sold 1 million copies less. It's right. It's the weirdest thing. Then in 86, Dancing on the Cover, which the tour I went to, sold only 1 million copies. I mean, think about it. And that album had 3 singles, right? It had Dance, which to me there's a Mandela effect with the song Dance, because I remember when it came out, it was titled Dance, 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 but now it's just called Dance. No, regardless, I'm not trying to get to the Mandela effect here, but I do have a Mandela effect on that title, that song, Dance. And when you listen to the song Dance, it's almost like a rock anthem, right? All for one, one for all. I mean, it's to me, it's like a rock anthem. You have Slip of the Lip, right? Slip of the Lip and Body Talk. There was also, if you didn't know this, it was in an Eddie Murphy movie, The Golden Child. Body Talk, there was a video. So you had 3 singles off this album versus Invasion of Privacy when you only have 2 singles. And you had a song that was in the movie, The Golden Child. And Dancing Undercover only sold about 1 million copies. I mean, it's you won't think that, right? Because when you think of the 80s, you think of Motley, you think of RATT. But it's the weirdest thing that RATT sales never went back up. And they were headliners. It's just, the whole thing, it doesn't make sense now. And then you go to Reach for the Sky. They're the 4th album. And now technically only it said 1 million, but it did sell a little bit more than Dancing on the Cover, Reach for the Sky, that had that groovy Way Cool Jr., which everybody loved. I Want a Woman. That's more of a kind of a pop rock type of song. A very good, solid album. Only sold 1 million copies. Only sold 1 million copies. And in 88, dude, that was the heyday of metal. When metal was, in 88, metal was everywhere. Def Leppard broke through with a portion of Sugar on Me, Poison. Every Rose Has a Thorn, broke the metal music to the other side. So albums, most bands of this era went from like 1 million sales to 2, 3 to 5 million sales. But RATT only sold 1 million. And I don't get it. I literally sitting here, I don't get it. I mean, you had a voice, Stephen Pearcy voice, that's fantastic on the albums. Fantastic. Warren DeMartini is a fantastic guitar player. Robin Crosby, Bobby Blotzer, Croucier on the bass. I mean, guys, I don't get it. I just sitting here and I just don't get it. Then their not last album, but the last in the era 80s album, Detonator, in 1990, which it wasn't yet. Grunge hasn't taken over yet until 91 and 92. And look at Detonator. Only 500,000 copies. That's it. Now that's my least favorite of the RATT albums, and we're gonna get to why that's my least favorite of the RATT albums. But that only sold 500,000 copies when at that time other bands were selling over millions of copies. It's head scratcher. Even though I don't think that's their best album, I think that's out of the 5. I put that rank as number 5, but it should have sold at least 2 million copies. Reach for the Sky, Dancing on the Cover should have sold at least, 2-3 million copies. And Invasion of Privacy should have sold 4 or 5 million copies because of the Out of the Cellar, what that sold. But again, I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't know the reason why. Now everybody says, well, yes, Nobody Rides for Free. And that song was also made for a movie. Which one was it? What movie was Nobody Rides for Free made for? What movie had the song Nobody Rides for Free? That was in a movie. Point Break. That's right. Point Break. So that song was made for a movie, Point Break. Right? And guys, when you do a comparison, let me see here. It wasn't RATT's fault. They have so much 80s competition like Guns N' Roses, Poison, Quiet Riot, lots of big hits back then. True. That is true. The only thing I would say is technically Guns N' Roses came out in 1987 and Poison came out in 1986. So if you think of it that way, those bands came out in 86. Invasion of Your Privacy came out in 85. And then Dancing Undercover came out in 86. They still had the, there was a lot of bands, but Guns N' Roses, I know they start blowing people away. But technically, Guns N' Roses album Appetite for Destruction came out in 87, was not a hit at first. Welcome to the Jungle was not a smash hit. It wasn't until 88 when Sweet Child of Mine came out. So technically, Guns N' Roses didn't explode until 1988. You know what I mean? So it's it is what it is. Now let's go back and look at some of these wonderful songs. I mean, and then here, let me do a comparison first. Now, when you compare RATT, the only other band I compare it equally with RATT is Motley Crue. I think Motley Crue and RATT are like the same, right? Kind of, Motley Crue came out with their album 81 a little sooner, but I always compare Motley Crue and RATT like together. And if you look at Motley Crue's Too Fast for Love, I mean, it took a long time. I mean, it sold 1 million copies, took a long time. But okay, Dr. Feelgood, Heyday, 89, 6 million. That's what I'm talking about. Shadow of the Devil, 83, 4 million. But I mean, Out of the Cellar sold over 3 million. So that's kind of a combination of almost the same. And then let's look at this. Look at this. This was interesting. Theater of Pain sold less than Out of the Cellar, right? I mean, by over 1 million copies. It should have sold almost the same. Here's Theater of Pain, that's considered not their best album, where a lot of people like Invasion of Your Privacy better than Out of the Cellar. They're almost tied in some ways with Lay Down. Motley Crue, with only technically 2 songs that did well on charts, of course, Home Sweet Home exploded. And the album sells mostly because of Home Sweet Home. Smoking the Boys. Now, I love Louder in Hell. I think Louder in Hell on that album should have been a video. And to me, it's a top 5 Motley Crue song. But that Theater of Pain almost sold exactly as Shadow of the Devil. And then here you go, 87, Girls, Girls, Girls. Over 4 million copies, right? Look at this. Their greatest hits, over 2 million copies. Another greatest hit, over 1 million copies. Another greatest hit, 1 million copies. And then this is interesting right here. Look at this. 1994. Motley Crue had a different singer. 94, and it's right in the heat of grunge. That album sold 600,000 copies versus RATT Detonator that came out in 1990 with only 500,000 copies. I mean, and then Generation Swine is a horrible album, outsold Detonator. So it's just apples and oranges. It's just RATT should have sold more. That's all I'm saying. I mean, RATT has so many hits, so many songs. Watch. Let's go to Wikipedia here. Right? Hold on, not that one. That's the EP. I don't want to go to the EP one. Let's go with Out of the Cellar. Let's go here. Let's share the screen. Okay, we're going to go here. All right. So, yeah, Out of the Cellar, right? I mean, let's look at these songs, people. Wanted Man. You're in Trouble. Round and Round. In Your Direction. She Wants Money. Lack of Communication. Back for More, which was on the EP. The Morning After. I'm Insane. Scene of the Crime. I mean, my God, that's the greatest hit album right there. I mean, that's why I sold. Honestly, I think Out of the Cellar should have sold 5 to 6 million copies. I'm just saying, with those songs on there, that's like a greatest hit album right there, right? So let's go to Invasion of Your Privacy. You're in Love. And I love, man, guys, if you guys ever take that album and if you can somehow take away Stephen Pearcy's voice, listen just to the music part of these songs. I mean, the band members don't get enough credit. Bobby Blotzer on those fucking drums is freaking awesome. Croucier on the bass, DeMartini, Robin Crosby. I mean, the music itself, without the voice of Stephen Pearcy, the music itself is fantastic. Never Use Love, Lay It Down, one of the best intro to any songs ever out there. And I'll say that, one of the best intros to any song that's out there from the 80s. Any. Lay It Down, that intro. Tell me a better intro than Lay It Down. It's dirty, it's sexy, it's freaking awesome. Give It All, Closer to My Heart, probably the closest to their ballad during that time. Between the Eyes, one of my favorites. What You Give Is What You Get. Love that song. Got Me on the Line. You should know by now is a fantastic live song. Dangerous but worth the risk. This album should have easily sold 3-4 million copies. Don't know what happened. Now, Dancing on the Cover. This album, I love the recording of this album because this album sounded more like live versus the other two albums. When you listen to these songs off Dancing on the Cover, you're already listening on how these songs will sound like when it's live, right? You already know what these songs sound like when they're live. So, Dance, again, to me, that's an anthem. That song's an anthem. One Good Lover. That's actually probably the only song on there. No. I'm sorry. That's Take a Chance. Take a Chance is like the only one I don't care for. One Good Lover. The sound of it is awesome. Drive Me Crazy. I mean, the sleazy slip of the lip. Body Talk, which was on, was in the movie The Golden Child, Eddie Murphy. Looking for Love, 7th Avenue. It Doesn't Matter. I think It Doesn't Matter should have been a video. Take a Chance, like the only one on there. I didn't care for. That's the one song I would take off. Enough Is Enough, a great song, right? Reach for the Sky. City to City, great opening song. I Want a Woman is a little more popish, but a great song live. Way Cool Jr. I mean, DeMartini in that beginning. Come on. Don't Bite the Hand That Feeds You. I Want to Love You Tonight. Chain Reaction, a good, powerful song live. No surprise. I love that song. Bottom Line, to me, is a song that should have been a video. My opinion. I love Bottom Line. What's it going to be? What I'm After. Okay. Then you go to the Detonator. Shame, 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 powerful song. Love You's Dirty Job, nice and sleazy. Scratch the Itch, One Step Away. Hard Times, Heads I Win, Tails You Lose. That's the one that Bon Jovi was on. All or Nothing, Can't Wait on Love, Giving Yourself Away, which is weird because that's like their first kind of a true ballad. But that ballad was only like kind of like released in Japan. They never released it in America. I don't know why. Maybe if they would have released it like a single, it would have sold more. Now, this is the thing about Detonator. And Detonator was my least favorite of all those albums. And, you know, again, anybody who knows me knows that I'm all about being honest, 100% honest. I felt that this album was too Desmond Child. Too much Desmond Child. And what do you guys mean? What do you mean Desmond Child? Desmond Child is a famous music writer. You know, he's the one that helped he wrote the hits for Bon Jovi, you know, Slippery When Wet. You know, it was Desmond Child who helped him with You Give Love a Bad Name, Living on a Prayer. So, you know, when you need album sales and you're trying to sell to the masses, I mean, Alice Cooper, did Poison, the song Poison with Desmond Child. So Desmond Child was like the secret ingredient if you want your albums to sell to the masses. And this is the thing. Again, this is just all my opinion. I think one of the problems I had with the album, the production was too much on it. During the late 80s, when they recorded the music, the first 4 albums, RATT, especially the first 3, give me a second. Hold on a second. I want to say it correctly. Producer Hill, he was more raw. I think he was more raw because at the time he was brand new to being like a producer. So the music had more of a raw sound. And when you got to this album, Desmond Child and Sir Arthur Payson. So the music, it's the little things they do to it. They kind of like turn down the guitar a little bit in a way. It's like more in the box. It's not as raw. It's more defined. So it's like the album is very well made. But I know that sounds weird, people, but I don't think RATT sounds great when an album is very well made. I think they sound better when they're a little bit more raw, kind of like wing it type of deal. They really are. I mean, with Hill knew how to get that from the band. And I think Desmond Child and Sir Arthur, you got Bon Jovi on a song, and it was just way overproduced, and it wasn't the same. There's some good songs on there. Don't get me wrong. There's some good songs on there, but the songs just wasn't raw enough. And that's just my opinion. And that's all right. Let's check out, see what you guys were. Let's go back into the chat because, the reason I do live shows because I love talking to you guys. All right. Dartboard. When Warren started playing, I have never heard something so loud in my life. Yep. Don't forget. Yep. It was. Yep. I read that one. I respect Mick Mars as much as DeMartini and Robin Crosby, but I like RATT a lot more than Crue. When you break it down, technically RATT had more type of singles off the albums overall over Motley, but Motley, what can you say? Every album sold over 4 million copies and higher. Wasn't RATT's manager like Milton Berle's grandson? That's why Uncle Milton is in RATT's video. Laugh out loud, right? No, you are 100% correct. Their first manager of RATT who signed them, yeah, the uncle was Milton Berle's. Yeah, he was the uncle. And they asked him if he wanted to be in the video Round and Around. He said yes. And isn't that the coolest? I mean, that is so cool. I mean, I love that. Who would have thought you're going to see Milton Berle in a video, and in all videos, right? You're in a RATT video. I mean, now I don't know at the time Milton Berle really knew who RATT was. Would he would have done it if he knew what the band was, or is Milton Berle just in good spirit, like, fuck, let's do it? Songs for RATT is way better than band like Motley Crue. RATT had a lot of great freaking songs. You know what I mean? I like the Thompson Twins. Okay. Dr. Wu likes the Thompson Twins. I think Dr. Wu just likes to be between the Thompson Twins. You know what I mean? Have one on both sides of them. I think that's what it is. Right? I like Lack of Communication. Great freaking song. That video with Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx, Wanted Man, was a hella cool. That was really cool. And there were also in the video, You Think You're Tough. They were playing cops. RATT had 2 guitar players, Cruise 1 guitar player, and still kicked their ass. Now, first of all, Motley Crue kicked their ass in album sales, yes, but music is all anybody's taste. So you can't sit there. Give me 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Sorry about that. So it's all anybody's taste. I know a lot of people who like Dawkins better than RATT and Motley Crue, and that's fine. That's fine. Listen, I love them all. I love Motley. I love RATT. But RATT has a special place in my heart because RATT, I was dying to see RATT live. I mean, I wanted to see RATT live. I mean, that just had to do it, and as much as they're dysfunctional, I know everybody always says the band is dysfunctional, they can never get together, but for a functional band, they still came out with 5 albums in the heyday. They still came out with 5 albums together. Guns N' Roses only came out technically with, I guess, 3. Use Your Illusion 1 and 2. I guess you count that as 2 albums. Guns N' Roses only came out with 2 main ones. So even though they said RATT had a dysfunctional band, they still wiggled out 5 albums. Let me see here. Motley Crue made better RATT stars. Crue made better rock stars, I meant. Yeah, Motley Crue's a rarity. Motley Crue's a rarity. I always say this, and guys, I don't get into politics. I always say there's 2 luckiest groups that are out there. The 2 luckiest groups are out there. Donald Trump and Motley Crue. Like, what? Donald Trump, Motley Crue? Yeah, because those two groups could do whatever the fuck they want, and nobody cares. They get away with everything, right? Motley Crue did a lot of bad shit, but you know what? It's the Crue. It's all right. Any other band does the shit that Crue did, they would be crucified. You know what I mean? Because Motley Crue never hide nothing. Tommy Lee, he apologizes, but, he slapped a woman. He hit. He admits it. Donald Trump did bad shit. But he don't care. He'll call people out. You know what I mean? It's like any other groups do the same thing as Motley and Trump. They'd be crucified. But since it's them, I mean, how lucky can you get in so many ways, right? You could do something that could kill a regular person's career. But since it's Motley, it's just Motley. It's just Nikki Sixx, Vince Neil, Mick Mars, John 5 now, I guess. Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee is just Tommy Lee. He didn't know where he was at. You know what I mean? Yeah. Wrong band. I don't want to get into that, but wrong band. It wasn't Enough's Enough. It wasn't Enough's Enough. It was No It Rocks. And we don't want to get into that. But that wasn't Enough's Enough. Wrong band. We're here for RATT. So, I put in a vote into it. Let's check it out, what it says here. All right. A little surprise here. Invasion of Privacy is winning by 53%. Out of the Cellar, second place with 32%. Dancing Undercover, third place. Reach for the Sky in the fourth place. Now, guys, remember, YouTube only allows you 4 choices. So I could not put 5 albums on there. I couldn't do it. So YouTube only gives you 4 choices. A lot of people say, everybody, when I put out polls every single day I have a new poll out every single day. And everybody's like, how come this album's not on there? How come this album's not on there? How come this person, that person? Guys, YouTube only allows you 4. So I just go with the gut, put who I feel. And so the only person to blame is me because I can't put any more. Now, you guys are like, what are you talking about? What do you mean? So every day, if you go to my community tab here, let me show you guys here. If you go to my community tab, let me share screen. If you share a screen, every day I put a poll up. Which of these 4 bands deserve to be an arena headliner? I'm only allowed to put 4. Which of these bands possess the finest backing vocals? There's albums. There's, best bass player, guitar, best albums. I do a poll every single day. If you didn't know that, I put out a poll every day. So and the poll, again, I can only put 4. So it's, sometimes if I use data, I would put the top 4 data, even if I don't agree with it. But, I try to be truthful as I can. You see here, RATT made great albums that produce hits every time with a style that was unmatched by anyone in the game. Every up and coming band on the Strip wanted to be RATT. Back in the 80s, they were the best. Yeah, and it's weird again. They should have sold more. I wish they did. Officially, RATT is still a band on a break since 2022. Stephen Pearcy and DeMartini are still touring now. Name of the band, yeah. That whole who owns the rights to title? There was courts, lawsuits, and I think it went back to Stephen Pearcy and some of them. So there's a reason. It's, I don't know. It's just weird. It's weird, I wish they could get with Croucier and Bobby Blotzer. I wish they could make up and officially come back out as RATT. And we haven't talked a lot about Robin Crosby. I mean, everybody who learned, who studied, who watched the band, Robin Crosby had the biggest heart in the world, the biggest heart. He was originally the lead guitarist for RATT, but Martini got so damn good, he kind of overlapped Robin Crosby. Not in a bad way. Martini was a freak of nature on the guitar. So Robin Crosby went from being like the lead guitar of RATT to the rhythm guitar of RATT. And a lot of the stories, I mean, I can't tell you exactly what's true or not. I'm just going off what I have read, that, it kind of put him in a bad spiral. He was like depressed. It's well known he did have some depression. But Robin Crosby, when the band went home, he used to stick around with the producers and help shape the albums, even though his lead guitar kind of got taken away. And oh, wow. I talked to Robin Crosby on the phone a few months before he died. Yeah, and that was the time, they got that disease, and, it just, him and the Queen singer, and it just was during that time when they didn't, there's still not a cure, but people who have the disease AIDS are living a long life now. And it just wasn't there yet when Robin Crosby, and of course we all know about the addiction. I don't want to talk about his addiction because, Robin Crosby was one of a kind, great guys. He is one of the good guys of musicians. There was not a bad soul in that person. I mean, I didn't know him, but what I've seen and heard, I made the last payment on a Charvel at a small guitar shop in Chula Vista to Warren DeMartini, who was there singing autographs. It was great. That's freaking awesome. That is awesome. That is awesome. That is awesome. So guys, Robin Crosby is one of a kind, and we all, that was a hard, I mean, he wasn't, I mean, it was hard losing Ozzy and Ace Frehley, but at least they made it to the 70s, right? At least they made it to the 70s, I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know exactly what age Crosby was when he died. I'm sure he was only in his 30s, and it was just a shame because with Crosby not around, it makes it harder for RATT to come together because how much he meant to the band, And a lot of people don't know. Before RATT got albums out, Jakey Lee was in RATT for a little while, and Jakey Lee was the one who recommended to Stephen Pearcy and them Martini. So, all right, guys. So now going forward, all my live shows are going to be Tuesdays and Friday. I like to have 2 days apart from a Friday. Now, this Friday is the day after Thanksgiving. I'll see what I could do. Wow, he's 42. He's 10 years younger than me. Oh, man. It breaks my heart. It really does. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because Robin Crosby was really a good guy. So this Friday, I'm going to play it by ear because I don't know exactly what's going on because, Thursday's Thanksgiving. But all my live shows are going to be Tuesdays and Friday. And remember, guys, I'm doing these live because I love talking to you guys. I want to be raw and I want to be real, right? I want to be real. Dude, you're 60, but your heart is of a 20-year-old. Danny, your heart of a 20-year-old. Danny's a good guy, people. Danny's a great guy. He's a good fun. He's an honest guy. He's one of the only guys out there that sticks up for you. He sticks up for you. 18, bro. No, 21. Because you want to be able to drink, right? You want to be able to, buy some alcohol and some weed, right? So let's say 21. Let's say 21. And when I was sick, when I was sick, Danny checked up on me and stuff, Danny's a good guy. He checked up on me when I was sick and stuff. And, I'm through with all the sickness stuff. I'm through. Oh, my good friend, Ron, my good friend. I'm glad you're here. Ron, I need you to email me your phone number again because I got a brand new phone. And somehow when things switched over, I lost a lot of people's number. I lost their number. It's gone. Half of it came through. I thought all of it came through. Didn't. So Ron, email me your phone number because I lost it. Or text me your number so I can save it. Beyond that, as Ron says, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Just this Thursday, have a good time. I still put out shorts every day. I put out rock and roll shorts so us to remember the good times. Good for you, dude. Good for you. I appreciate that. And you know what? And you know what? It takes a lot of guts to come out and say that. It takes a lot of guts. I love that. We're a family here. We're all family here. And then Dr. Wu got his KFC Cajun turkey. Cajun turkey. And I got it. You guys want to see his number? No, I won't do that. Oh, God. Thank you, Ron. Because I was like, man, how am I going to get a hold of Ron? I'm going to have to email him because I lost Danny's number. I had to call Danny. Or actually, Danny texted me, and his picture wasn't on there, his face. His face was, I'm like, I don't have Danny's number no more. I looked at my phone. Holy Christ, I don't have him. I didn't have my brother's number on here. You don't have to thank me, my friend. You don't have to thank me. Dude, we're family, man. We're family. We all been there, dude. We all been there. My brother, Dr. Wu, would tell you, He got under influence himself and had to get himself out of it. It's never easy. It's never easy. All you got to do is buy yourself a KFC Cajun turkey, which are not sponsoring the channel. So KFC should go drop me a dime saying, hey, thanks for promoting us, Cajun turkey and all that. So guys, seriously, have a great Thanksgiving. And if I can make it on here Friday, I'll try. But if I can't, every Tuesday and Friday will be my live shows on here. This is about being real, being raw, just like how music of the 80s were raw, right? I'm not going to pre-recut a video, cut it up, edit it to make it sound fantastic. If I fuck up, we all know it. That's why I love it. So beyond that, guys, I'll see you guys again. Have a great Thanksgiving. I'll see you next time. Hopefully I'll see you this Friday. And I can't hit the intro.